Hey, morning, Sunday. Yeah, listen, the day of rest today. The day of rest is hard to be calm and peaceful and quiet. One of the first thing I noticed when I came out here to sit down, I hear a few birds. There's a couple of cars in the distance. It's looking like it's gonna maybe rain and hopefully it'll hold off. There's no cicadas, there's no bugs. If you listen to the Daily Dose during the week, you'd hear when I was outside is there's these bugs that go in the trees up above, and they're only around in the summertime, and they're called cicadas, and they make a loud noise. And I can't do the Daily Dose out here because it's often really, really noisy, even with the little AirPods in. And right now it's just peaceful. There's just something about it. So welcome to the Daily Dose, and I want to share with you, my name's Mark Havens, you already know that. I am an online fitness coach. I help moms and dads over 40 quiet out the noise. I help them get out the noise of getting their bodies, get out the noise so they can get their bodies back the way they deserve, back in shape, back with the weight off, et cetera, et cetera. But right now, I want to ask you, do you know how to grow strong in your weakness? And I don't know where you're at today. I don't know, it's Sunday. It's just, there's something about right now in this moment that's just peaceful and calm. And maybe for you, there's a strength in being calm. Maybe the weakness is in all the noise, right? There's plenty of noise out there, noise in the world, noise maybe up here in your head, noise from relationships, noise in your business, noise in the news, noise in the world. And sometimes it's hard to be strong during all the times where there's all this noise. And I came out here and I just literally, I felt like this strength, and it wasn't for me. And that's what I want to share with you today is if you're feeling weak, maybe you've had a rough couple of months like a lot of us have. Maybe you've had a rough weekend. Maybe you've just been really just struggling to try to figure out things, and you feel weak right now. Maybe it's weak mentally, maybe it's emotionally, maybe it's physically, maybe it's spiritually weak. And I just wanted to share, it's kind of interesting. I was sharing this before. This has been, I don't know why it was out, but somebody had it out. I think my wife did. She has a couple of these. And I just flipped open this, and that was the title, Grow Strong in Your Weakness. Now, as you know, I'm a Christian man, and I believe in Jesus. I can say the Jesus word. I'm not afraid to. That's part of faith, right? Is being okay to say you're a Jesus follower. And one of the things that it kind of just hit me when I was reading through this, just really quick. It basically just says, some of my children I'm gifted. I'll just read it real quick. I wasn't going to, but let's talk about this. And if you're catching this on the replay or you're watching this live, let me know that you're there. Say good morning, say hello, right? There's no judgment here. Whether you're Christian, not Christian, it doesn't matter. I'm just feeling called in here to talk about how to grow strong in weakness. And Sundays sometimes can be that day you feel weak. You feel like you don't have control. There's a lot of things we don't have control over right now. And I want to share with you what's been helping me, something that's been really helping to transform me as a 47-year-old man. So grow strong. This is, again, I don't read this all the time. This popped open and it said, grow strong in your weakness. And this is actually tomorrow's, if you do the Jesus calling, I think there's other books of this. This is August 31st. It just happened to pop open on this one, which is tomorrow, the last day of August. Grow strong in your weakness. Some of my children I've gifted with abundant strength and stamina. Others, like you, have received the humble gift of frailty. Your fragility is not a punishment, nor does it indicate lack of faith. On the contrary, weak ones like you must live by faith, depending on me to get you through the day. I'm developing your ability to trust me, to lean on me rather than on your own understanding. Your natural preference is to plan out your day, knowing what will happen when. My preference for you, listen to this, my preference for you is to depend on me continually, trusting me to guide you and strengthen you as needed. This is how you grow strong in weakness. And isn't that like the truth? Here's the thing I can tell you in the times where I've felt weak in a lot of different ways, is when I've relied on my own efforts, when I was feeling weak, whether it may be in my business pursuits, whether it be in my relationships, maybe as parenting skills, maybe as being a son to a parent, when I felt weakness, I can tell you two things. The way I used to go about it is trying to just suck it up, to be a tough person, a tough man, and to try to just do my best and work hard, and that's the way I was going to get and learn and get stronger and just, toughen it up. That's what we're called as men in the world's views. And you know what? I can say that I've gotten through some of those, but the hardest moments of my life, the biggest times where I felt the weakest in my life, no way. I can tell you this, that prior to having this relationship with God through Jesus I was struggling. It was a struggle. And I even think back to some of the things I struggle with that weren't really, if I think back to them, I'm so grateful I went through those. But when I was trying to do it on my own, I really felt weak. I didn't have the answers for getting strong. And I don't have all the answers now, but I will say is how to grow strong in weakness. The big thing for me is not in me lifting heavy weights or doing lots of push-ups or being super fit or anything like that, or eating, lots of protein. All of those things make you physically strong. Is the strength in God. And that last bit, your natural preference, our natural preference in life is to plan out our day, right? We need to plan and structure. I talk about it all the time. And knowing what will happen from this hour to that hour to the next day to the next week. And guess what? The reality is, look what happened this year so far. I would say it's safe to say that you had no idea what was happening. What happened in the last 6 months, 7 months was what you expected or maybe even planned. Maybe you said 2020 was going to be your year. This is going to be the year that you lose the weight and you get back in shape and you get that promotion and you get that relationship, or you build your marriage, or you do these, exciting things. And then guess what? The world kind of threw you off track completely. And it's hard when you're relying on just your own efforts to plan every single step and next step, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to achieve this and go after that and that. Don't get me wrong. It's okay to have those aspirations and goals, but hold on to them loosely, because what happens is, in the second part of this, the Lord's preference is for you to depend on Him continually, trusting Him to guide you and to strengthen you as needed. This is how you grow strong in weakness. So today, again, Jesus calling. I don't know. This has been around for a long time. I don't know what. This is a long time it's been. But I just wanted to share with you, it's good to have goals. It's really good to have goals. And why I share this is because maybe you're setting yourself up for some goals for this coming week. Maybe your weekend became your weekend, like we talk about. And hopefully maybe you need to listen in at the end of the week, where it's easy just to fall off track. And I give you some helpful guidance and encouragement. And that's what this daily dose is for. To provide some insight, to provide some encouragement. You see, I don't have all the answers, but I want to share with you. I think God's leaning on me to just be as encouraging and as motivational and as helpful, give as much value as I can. And I can say, as time and time again, God just keeps telling me to open my mouth and talk more about Him. He just keeps leaning on me. Mark, I know you want to talk about fitness and how to lose weight and how to get in shape, and those are all great things, and those can be helpful. But He keeps telling me, Mark, keep talking about me to Him. Keep talking about me, because I know for a fact there'll be a lot of people, maybe you're one of them, that you won't watch a church service today online or in person, go into church if you have access to one of those. And I know you won't maybe ever crack open a Bible, or maybe you won't ever pray a prayer, and I hope that maybe some point change. It's not up to me. It's between you and God. But I do know that there are some people that the only, if you will, the only thoughts in their mind, and maybe their only experience with somebody with faith or understanding God, is through other people. And that's the big thing that I've learned actually through this lockdown mode, where people weren't doing normal church and people weren't doing normal life groups and just in general Christians. And that we were pushed into a different direction of still doing church, right? Still having connections, whether it be online, right? Screen to screen, so to speak, Zoom to Zoom, that sort of stuff. So just back to, it's good to have goals. I want you to have goals, but goals can disappoint. If we leave, they can totally disappoint us. Our goals can disappoint us if we leave God out of the picture. You ought to put God in the picture. There's no point in making plans, truly. I wrote some things down. There's no point in making plans as though God does not exist, because the future truly is in His hands. And if you have that kind of faith, if you believe no matter what's going to happen tomorrow, good, bad, or indifferent, it's in God's hands, right? It's something in I believe it's, not Proverbs. I had it out earlier. Oh yeah. It was in because we just went through this in my men's group, and I'm going to share this. James is such a good. I've gone through it a couple times now, but James 4 talks about boasting about tomorrow. Really, like, oh yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get to that tomorrow. And now listen, you say today or tomorrow we'll go this or that city. We'll go to this or that city, spend a year there, carry on business, make money. Why you do not even know what will happen tomorrow? What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, if it's the Lord's will, we will live and do this or that. As it is, you boast in your arrogant schemes. All such boasting is evil. If anyone then knows the good they ought to do and doesn't do it, isn't it sin for them? So that's a little bit more deeper. But the first part of 13, 14 is we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. It's okay to have plans, but what if your plans, if you hold on to them loosely, then you won't be as disappointed if you're saying, no, that this is what's going to happen tomorrow and this month and this year, 2020, this is the year I'm going to get in the best shape of my life, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is the only way I'm going to go, and this is like kind of one narrow track. And if you leave God out of it, trust me, you're going to come up short. You're going to come up disappointed, even if you reach the goals. Here's the crazy thing is, I've seen, and I've been a part of it, and I've even done it, is you get exactly what you go after, and you're like, was it really all that worth it? So that's just something to think about. Now, as a health and fitness coach, I just want to share with you that I do believe that people are not maximizing their full potential for what the Lord can do in their life because they choose not to live a healthy and fit life. Now, I'm not talking about being on a cover of a magazine or being a swimsuit model or being able to run a marathon in under 4 hours. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about truly maximizing your physical, because it is all so connected, so connected. The way I see it, if you are a Christian now, if you're not, maybe this is a little bit beyond your scope right from now. And trust me, I knew it was important to be in shape, but I didn't know how important it is to be in shape and healthy and fit for the things that God wants to do in and through me for him. And that's something that if you're a Christian and you're a business person or a mom or dad, if you run a business or work for a company, if you have parents you have to take care of, if you have kids that you have to parent, all the things in between, if you are a believer, if you're a Christian, do you not think that God wants you to be? Now, I'm not saying to plan all out for the next 6 months. Who knows? Because the doctor can bring you some bad news. But wouldn't it be safe to say that it would be beneficial to you if you were going through it to your highest capacity, physically speaking, your best ability? Like that's something, if you have been lacking, if you've been struggling, if you've been stuck, there's a lot of people that have been stuck in a rut, and it's just, honestly, now the rut's like a pit. It's almost like quicksand. Maybe you feel like you were kind of off track with your fitness, and you maybe had 20, 30, 40 pounds that you wanted to lose, and you just were not honoring your body the way God intended you to honor your body. And it's now 7 months in to like almost a whole year has gone by, right? If you think about the entire year being on lockdown, and you really went downhill. And maybe just not physically, but emotionally, spiritually, mentally, whatever, all those above. And you're now at a place like you don't know where to go. You're in quicksand and you're sinking more and more deep. I can say two things, is that it would be very important to get and turn in a different direction. It would be very important if you've been stuck and struggling to get some help. I'm just one person that can help you. I'm not the only person. I would say is if you've been watching me any length of time, you've been seeing success stories from people and know that I actually am serious about what I do and I get people results. And you and I need to have that conversation. You can simply send me a message. We can book a call next week. I'm not doing it today. I don't do any of this. This is about it for me today. But I would say is for next week, we can get on a call and talk about where you're at and where you're struggling and see if you and I'd be a good fit to work together. Because sometimes it takes just reaching out a hand. And reaching up a hand first to say, I need help. And then having somebody reach down their hand and help pull you out of that quicksand. And, you can keep staying in that quicksand and stay there, and it can pull you deeper and deeper. And, you can end up in a really, really bad spot. And I hope that isn't you. But if it is, and you're not reaching for somebody to help you, you're not maybe taking the initiative, the steps, getting serious about it, sooner or later you're going to be forced to. And I'm not just talking physically. I'm not just talking about, being overweight. I'm talking much more than that. So there's really, here's the last thing is I want you to know to hold on to your plans loosely. If we put God's desires at the center of our planning, I wrote this down, and he's never going to disappoint you. Let me just say that again. If we put the Lord, if we put God, if you're a believer now, this is for you, if you're a Christian, and you put his desires at the center, his desires for you at the center of our planning, and he's never going to disappoint. If we put our desires at the center, it's usually going to disappoint, whether you achieve them or don't achieve them. Even if you achieve them, like I said, sometimes you come up on the other side and you're like, really? Wasn't all that worth it, right? Like maybe this weekend you said, I'm going to have all that good food and I'm going to be lazy. And then you come back around and you're like, oh, now it's Monday and I'm going to have to step on that scale, or I'm just going to have to face the consequences of those things that gave me the temporary satisfaction. And that's related to everything, right? It can be relationship related. It can be things that maybe it could be addiction related. It could be related to alcohol or even drugs or smoke, whatever, any of those things. So my question back to you is, do you know how to become strong in your weakness? I hope this helps, understanding that it's much more than just what you can do with your muscle strength and just even how strong you are up here. It's typically, you can get strong from the guy up there, but you got to look up to him. Sometimes it's easier to look down at all the doom and gloom versus up at him and look for the things that he has for your life. So this is the Daily Dose, this Sunday edition, a little more spiritual with that. I hope it found you well. If you did enjoy this, share it on your wall. If you did enjoy us, you can share and say, hey, Mark does a Daily Dose, 8 a.m. I've been doing it for we're in episode, what number now? 100 and something? 153, 54, somewhere in there. 154 days. If you want a more consistent, hey, here's one thing you can know about me, is now I mess up royally a lot of things. I make some dumb decisions. But you're never going to find a more consistent person than me. I've been doing 25 years of fitness. I've been helping people lose weight and get in shape for the past quarter of a century, right? There's the whiskers to prove it. They're nice and gray. But I would say is I didn't even have a plan to do this maybe more than 10 times, and here we are 150 something times. And one of the things God just keeps saying is show up at 8 o'clock, show up, keep showing up. And if you need somebody that's reliable and consistent in your life to help pull you out of that quicksand, to help get you back on track, you and I need to have a conversation. Maybe it's time to see that light bulb above. Look at that light bulb right above the head. I wish it just go on. Sometimes it just takes turning on that light switch. Just flick on that light. See it up there? That's our outdoor lights. So anyway, take care. Have a blessed Sunday. And listen, if you need a place to watch church, let me know. We watch a couple different services, but we're going to get ready to have some church this morning. Take care and God bless. We'll see you soon.